we got some more news to talk about, and it is once again about conference realignments. At this point, with all the conference realignment stuff, here's what I think we should call it now. We should call it the transfer portal for schools who don't want to be in a conference anymore. Because that's what it is. They're leaving the conference, aka the team that they're in, the school is, and going to a different conference where their school, that team thing, whatever, you know what I'm talking about, so they can make more money, because that's what the transfer portal is. So let's just call it what it is, people. Anyway, you know, a lot of the Power 5 schools have been changing up a lot of stuff during this whole, like, realignment stuff. The SEC kicked it off, though after Oklahoma and Texas, they really haven't done much. The Big Ten's got 4 new schools coming in. The Big 12, in my opinion, is the big winner out of all of these, because they've gotten a crap ton of schools, both from rip the Pac-12, which we'll get to that more in a minute. Plus, they got a few others from not Power 5 schools joining. And then there's the ACC, the one that's has added or lost any teams. The only conference that was not affected until a couple of days ago, when I get a notification on my phone saying that the ACC is adding SMU, Stanford, and Cal effective 2024-2025 season. Now, the more die-hard college football fans might be seeing the problem, or college sports fans in general, I guess, might be seeing the problem right away. We'll break it down in a minute. First off, I want to get something on my chest. They now say that the ACC is 18 schools. They're counting Notre Dame, though. I don't count Notre Dame in the ACC. Here's why. They're in the ACC technically, they're also in the Big Ten technically with hockey, and they're independent technically with football. Make up your mind before we're supposed to categorize you. Okay? It's not that hard. Either have your football and hockey go to the Big Ten all time, go to the ACC full time, or go independent full time. Don't mix it up. It's just way too difficult. That's what I have to say about that. So, let's just break this down. So they're adding SMU, group of 5 team that is from Texas. They are adding Stanford and Cal from the now defunct Pac-12, or soon to be defunct, I guess, after a season or two. They're from California, okay? So so there you take that note and stuff it in their back pocket, okay? And then think about the ACC. You know, like, oh, what's the name of the ACC? Well, they're called the Atlantic Coast Conference. Where's the Atlantic Coast? Maybe on the eastern side of the U.S., like Maine, all the way down to Florida. So why the fuck are you adding a team from Texas and 2 teams from California when they're nowhere near the Atlantic Coast? Who was thinking that? Who thought that was correct? In fact, 2 of the schools are on the Pacific Coast, California of all places. So what they're doing is it's basically you're going from one rival ocean to the next rival ocean. Have you ever thought about that? I didn't even know there was rivals with oceans until now. The Pacific Ocean people are crying, we lost our team. We're gonna go to the Atlantic Coast Conference. And then, like, why? So then you bring up that point on social media, right? And then you get a bunch of fucking nerds on Instagram or whatever, or Discord, God forbid, or even worse, X or Twitter, saying, what about Notre Dame? Fuck Notre Dame, we already mentioned them. And then they mentioned Louisville. Screw Louisville! Nobody gives a crap about them outside of fucking Kentucky. And Kentucky has like 8 people in it. At least they are close to the Atlantic coast. And the rest of them are at least in a state that is really close to or touches the Atlantic coast. California is all the way on the other side of the country from your headquarters. And SMU's not that much better. They're on the Gulf Coast. Pretty much. Maybe. I don't know. And like, okay, we gotta take a step back. All of these conference realignments, while most of them don't make sense. Most of the Big 12s make sense. Let's just break down, all right? You have to think, you know, like there's the conferences, like these Power 5 conferences, still counting the Pac-12 until they're officially gone. They at least, like, there's some geographical, like, stuff. Like, the Pac-12 is known for having teams out west, right? That's the Pacific Conference, like, on the Pacific. The Big Ten, right, is known as a Midwestern Conference, but it's not in the name. So when they start expanding, yes, okay, people are not going to be happy. Sure, that's not a great idea. But it's not in the name. It makes some level of sense, and it does not matter in that regard. Same with the Big 12. They can go wherever they want because they don't have anything in their name. The SEC, Southeastern Conference. They've stayed quite true, even with the addition of Texas, Oklahoma. I mean, they're still South. They're a little not super Eastern, but, you know, they already had Texas A&M, so I guess there you go. Atlantic Coast Conference, though, has stepped it way off boundary by adding 2 California schools. Like, are you serious, people? Makes no sense. And Stanford and Cal and SMU aren't even that good. Like, we were all worried that the ACC was going to start to implode too because they weren't making any of these big trade moves in the fucking transfer portal with their schools because they weren't making any moves, so they're going to implode. And then they finally make one, and this is who you had? This is who you had? You could have gotten recruits from the SEC. You could have gotten, I don't know, fucking anybody else besides Stanford, Cal, and SMU. Holy crap! Makes no sense at all. Like, it's not a good financial move for the ACC, right? Even though rich-ass Cal, rich-ass Stanford, and probably rich-ass SMU, but I don't know their quadruple net figures, are probably, that's how they got in. They're thinking, big TV deal, big TV deal, big TV deal, big money, big money, big money, big money, yeah, woohoo, big money. And all of these teams, they're shit. Stanford is shit. Cal is shit. When have either of those schools been relevant? In anything that makes money, at least. I guess women's lacrosse might be good. You don't see them bringing in the big bucks, though, do ya? And SMU, sure, maybe they've been ranked a couple years. Does that justify it? They haven't done shit. They always barely make a bowl game, let alone win it. And when's their basketball team been relevant? You know? God forbid, I don't think any of these schools play hockey. I don't even think the ACC has any hockey programs. So there's no revenues there. What do you think? Baseball? Lacrosse? Swimming? Where's the revenue? Other than the fucking TV deals. Which I guarantee none of them knew. None of them have TV deals. USC and UCLA took the Pac-12's TV right deals with Apple and took them to the Big Ten. I don't know why Stanford and Cal think they're hot shit, thinking they're going places. They're not. This one pisses me off more than most. Just because they're going to a conference, then they're going to have to change their name. They're going to have to change their name now. So let's spend the rest of this video coming up with good ideas that maybe they could do for names. Because no longer they're the Atlantic Coast Conference. They're the, let's see, what about the, oh, you could keep the same acronym called the All Coast Conference. Because now you're on all 3 coastlines. Except the, yeah, you're on all 3 coastlines now. So you could just be called the All Coast Conference. That would work. But you probably won't choose that name. I think it's something better. We already got the Big 12. We already got the Big 10. Why don't we step it up and have the Big 14? I know you already got 18, actually 17 schools. But the Big 10 and Big 12 aren't accurate with numbers anymore. We've already shown that these big executives with these conferences cannot count. So just call yourselves Big 14. Keep the increments of 2 going on. You know, there's another option for you. And then, I don't know, maybe you could call us the Stupidos. You know, like SpaghettiOs, Stupidos. Because you're adding West Coast schools to your East Coast Conference. That's why. And, like, this is not going to affect performance. This is not going to positively, it's going to affect it. It's not going to positively impact it, though. It's not going to really, I think, increase revenue. It's going to increase revenue for the schools that are joining. Not for the ones that are already there. How do you think they feel? Probably don't feel anything. Because they're getting blinded by the big checks from the TV companies, I guess. Or some other inside job. Maybe the bank. You know, all these banks that apparently don't have any money anymore. Where do you think it's going? Probably to football schools. If you could call any of these football schools. I sure shit wouldn't. Pisses me off. I don't know how many more of these conference realignments are going to happen, but I don't think they can be one as stupid as this one. I really don't. And if there is, I'd like to know it. Test me, because I can get angrier, I can get louder, and I can sure as shit make you feel even stupider.